What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is TishaTheBrave. Hope you guys are doing well, hope you guys are doing okay. Today I am here to talk about the life path 7. The life path 7 is what I call the truth seeker / the intellect. Now before we get into the video, I just want to remind you that I have a Patreon account where you can support me. Over there every week, every Monday, I share moon cycle videos with you guys, so you guys can check it out. And all my other social media will be down below, so you guys can find me on all other platforms, okay? Let's get into the video. So as I said before, the life path 7 is what I would call the truth seeker / the intellect. A lot of Virgos, Pisces, Sagittarius, Aries and Libras tend to be like life path 7, sometimes Aquarius too. So I wouldn't be surprised if you guys are here or have big placements in those areas. That's just something I thought I'd just put out there. I happen to be a life path 7 myself, so a lot of the examples I'm going to be using are generally talking about me and who I am and all that good stuff. Your primary purpose in life is to trust and be open to all the ideas and possibilities of the world, and to share that wisdom using your spiritual gifts. So a lot of life path 7s have a wide range of interests, okay? As a life path 7 myself, I know that I am a big lover of history, astrology, numerology, religion, and I like biology, and I like, you know, I literally have watched lectures and lectures on things that I've been genuinely interested about. And the thing is, it's kind of hard not to go down the rabbit hole. It's not necessarily hard for you to focus on one thing, but what it is that once you get interested in something, it's hard for you not to stop digging. Like, all you do is dig and dig and dig and dig. And basically what you're trying to do is to get to the root or the truth of that matter. And the truth is just very, very important to you, or us, should I say. So the life path 7 can often have a personality that embodies either more masculine or more feminine traits. So sometimes the life path 7 is very much a spiritual, creative person, and sometimes the life path 7 could be the logical, the rational, the witty, the quick thinking person. And the reason we kind of gravitate to one and not the other sometimes is because you could be just a little bit more comfortable in this position rather than this position. And the life path 7 is supposed to be melding the two of those to be more fulfilled in their purpose. But we'll get into that a little bit later on. Right now we're just skimming the surface of like what we could be like. The 7 can also have like a lot of introverted tendencies. And the thing is, it's not like you don't like hanging out with people. It's more so like you need that recharge time. You need that time to kind of like charge a battery a little bit, you know? Sometimes it might be easier for you to not be in such a party setting, but in a setting where it's more intimate with a bunch of friends. Friendships to you are very highly important too. You need to be around the right people that suit your energy because of the energetic person that you are. Like, you're more than just the physical in a sense. You're a person that kind of embodies your spiritual body too, especially those of you who are more in tune with their feminine side. And what happens is that you can get exhausted very easily. A lot of people like to pick your brain because you have so much wisdom, and sometimes you kind of can't help but like help people in the moment when people are asking for your help. And so what ends up happening is like you're doing this, you're doing this, you're doing this, you're explaining, you get winded, and you're just like, you know what, I kind of don't need to see people for the time being, or I need to be an introvert. And it's just what happens. You just get to a point where you just can't be around people. You'll get back out there eventually, or instead of being with a bunch of people, you maybe just be with the one person, you know? You guys observe human behavior a lot. Like, I remember when I was in secondary school, and I realized that there was this person that was going on a diet. Like, nobody else realized it until much later on in the year about how much weight this person lost. But I was observing like this person by accident. It just like, my eyes happened to glance over, and then I just realized that every time this person ate, they were eating substantially like more healthy food. And you know, a lot of people just ended up talking to them the next year, and they were like, yo, you lost a lot of weight. But I realized from the jump, because I'm just a person who observes human behavior just by nature. So you could be a person that could literally just like genuinely people watch, like, you know, you're at the park, you're just watching what people are doing. Or maybe you're a person that kind of likes to watch vlogs like myself, or you watch videos on like human behavior, human psychology, or you're interested in the brain, like the human brain, or even like biology and how that all works. And some of you may want to be therapists, or would want to be with, or may want to go to therapy just to figure out what's going on with you. It's basically the human mind and people and like history and all of that stuff will really fascinate you. And the reason you're probably like this is because there's a big part of you that, regardless if you're a spiritual person or not, knows that what happens in life truly affects you. And that leads me into the next point of our struggles, okay? Some of the life path 7s may actually struggle in their childhood in particular. So the reason why I'm particularly pointing at childhood is because life path 7s are supposed to grow into their spirituality, because life is supposed to be like a spiritual journey for them. So you may go through these bad things in life because you have to actually learn to develop your trust in the divine. The reason you may be into these human psychology videos or whatever it is that you're into is because you also want to find out why people struggle the way that you have struggled. You also want to figure out why people do the things that they do, especially if you've been abused. Why? And so because we've been hurt a lot, when we do find peace, when we do find happiness and maybe a person that we thought was good for us or whatnot, sometimes we can end up being gullible. We believe that people sometimes can be perfect human beings, and that's not necessarily true. Just because you love a person doesn't mean that this person is not going to have flaws, or this person is not going to cater to your personal needs. And sometimes you feel like you've trusted too much in this person when they hurt you, and then you come up with your own theories as to why you can't trust another human being again, and then it can end up being a thing where you are being scarred for life. And it's not even just a person, it could be an idea. It could be an idea that you've conjured up in your own head, you know, because we're very imaginative, creative people. And especially if you're a Pisces and you're gullible and you're believing stuff that you've made up in your mind, you can manipulate a situation where that doesn't benefit you, but that is actually on you and not on another person. So one of the ways to tackle this, I believe, is to work on the root chakra to ensure a more mental and spiritually stable foundation. So don't allow yourself to kind of get caught up in the emotion of it all. To be a life path 7 means you have to embody both logic and spirituality. You cannot have like one more than the other, because there are going to be things that hurt you, because this is going to be a big spiritual journey for you. So by working on the root chakra, it just means that you're going to embrace both the divine feminine, which is the more spiritually soft part of you, and also the divine masculine, which is about like the logic, the rationality and problem solving part of you. So you need to make sure that those two are intact, okay? So you may often find reflections of you in other people, and like if you're in a bad place in your life, you may often attract people with the bad place as well. People will gravitate towards you because you're also going through the same thing. And the reason this happens to you a lot, again, because it's supposed to be an independent spiritual journey, you're supposed to see a part of yourself in somebody else. You have to look at what's hindering you, what's stopping you from being bigger than what you are right now, from being more fulfilled in that space, if you understand what I'm saying here. So for example, if you're into astrology as well, I also see a lot of squares in Venus, aka challenges in love life as well, in these positions. And the reason is because if you're not good as a person and you're not embodying both masculine, feminine, and also learning from the lessons that are given to you by spirit, then what's going to end up happening is that you're going to also be with that person too, and then you're going to learn through that relationship. Or the flip side, if you're not trying to get into one, is that you end up being very lonely on this journey because you're starting to realize that everybody you attract is also trash, meaning that you may also be trash. I realized that when I started working on myself, the people that were surrounding me were actually people that matched my energy a lot more, versus when I was broken, I was attracting a lot more broken people. This is definitely a reflection of my life. And oftentimes you'll find your twin flame. I feel like 7s find their twin flame quite easily. They see the reflection of themselves quite easily. If you need more information on that, I'll actually have a link up there, because twin flames are not just romantically speaking. Twin flames are also just a relationship that you learn from, but often it's because you're seeing yourself in another person. So generally what I want to say here is that it would be to your benefit to take your time in developing your feminine and masculine traits, because once you embody the two, you have a balance, and what you want to attract is a balanced relationship just generally. And this doesn't have to be you know, lovers. This could be platonic, it can be anything. If you want to attract like-minded people, you have to work on yourself internally. And you could do that by thinking about how you can feed your spiritual soul. So if you're a person that is into religion, is the habits of your religion or the practices of your religion, if that makes you feel more fulfilled, start doing it. Maybe you're just a spiritual person, you're not religious, and maybe you just want to go outside and take walks, and that's part of your daily practice or whatever it is. Or some people just literally function by being creative, by using their sacral to actually create things. And so sevens in general, just remember, this is a personal intuitive path. So figure out what fulfills your spiritual needs, and it will then attract you to like-minded people, for real. This is a journey where if you neglect that part of yourself, you will not feel fulfilled. You won't. The other thing that we need to talk about is prone to depression. And a lot of sevens are prone to depression because they do not feel spiritually fulfilled. So they quit what they're supposed to be doing creatively. They just give up, and then they struggle with addiction. Maybe it's food, maybe it's sex, maybe it's drugs, maybe it's alcohol. They feed themselves into that placement. I find it really interesting because like the sevens that I know tend to have, like, if it's not in their sun sign, they tend to have like water or earth moons as well, and those two signs are very prone to addiction, very prone to addiction. Now I know myself because I've had a Taurus moon, and I know that when I didn't feel good at some point in my life, I kept eating a lot, and that was definitely me struggling with depression at the time when I was going through it. So this is a very real concept. And the way you kind of like deal with that before it gets out of hand is learn to accept that you will not and cannot find all the answers all the time, right? You are only human. Take regular breaks and develop a healthy relationship with rest. So take joy in the fact that discovery is only fun because you don't know everything. Literally, like if you want to know everything right now, which I struggle with a lot, if you want to know everything right now, it's just simply impossible. You have to take the time to discover, but that's also part of the fun. The fact that you don't know everything is actually a bunch of fun. You need to figure it out. You need to kind of like get into it. Like, this is why my favorite rapper is Lupe Fiasco. Guess why? Because I have to always figure out what he's saying. I have to literally decipher it, and that's half the fun of being a Lupe fan. The best way to also put your like mind at ease, but especially those who don't sleep very easily, is to meditate and to also you know, create something. So maybe you have to write, maybe you have to journal, maybe you have to make a song, whatever it is that gets your creative juices flowing. Like that's another way of kind of like using that energy instead of it going into addiction, you know? So what I like to do at this portion of the video is to actually go into the famous life path sevens, because I feel like once you can see in another person what a seven's supposed to embody, then you can also understand how you can use your own creativity and wisdom to share onto the world, because that's what we're supposed to be doing. Right? So the first person I looked at when I was doing my research in who's a famous life path 7 was Bruce Lee. Now I'm a huge Bruce Lee fan, so this was quite easy for me to put all the information together. So Bruce Lee basically developed his own style of martial arts. It's called Jeet Kune Do, and he started off with Wing Chun when he was in China, and then when he moved across America, he was trying to find ways to be the strongest martial artist. So what he did was he took all what he thought was the best parts of this particular martial art style, and then he embodied that, or he embraced that, and basically used his wisdom to develop this style. And now, you know, his style is now known to the masses. And although he's passed on his wisdom and his philosophy and his martial arts are still with us present today. So the next life path 7 person I want to bring up is Nas. Nas is a rapper famously known to talk about black history, and he imparts wisdom in his creative skills through music, and he understands, but by storytelling, which again is another creative aspect of him, and good music, that he could help black people understand better about where they come from, like history wise, because you know he talks a lot about history, and also how to educate them to get out of biases and the traps laid out for them, especially in America. He was doing basically what I would like to call think pieces, where he would have like songs that are about the perspective of a gun. He basically used his wisdom, his knowledge, his logic, and he then used that in his creativity. We got the masculine, feminine energy, and then he brought that wisdom to the world through his creativity. So that being said, let me reiterate what the Life Path 7 is all about once more. Your divine mission in life is to develop your sense of trust within yourself and within the divine, to embrace both divine feminine, which is, you know, spirituality and creativity, and fuse that with divine masculine, which is logic, reason, and rationality, and to give out your wisdom that you're going to inquire by all of these interests that you have in your own creative way. Okay, so I have a YouTube platform where I literally just talk about spirituality all the time, and I'm giving that wisdom out to people, but that's my way of doing it. Nas's way of doing it was through music. Bruce Lee's way of doing it was through martial arts. And as a 7, it's so important that you fuse both masculine and feminine, so you can do that to you through your so you could do that for other people through your creativity. And that is it for now. I'll see you guys in the next one.